Hey everybody, welcome back to STR Unfiltered. I'm your host, Bill Faith, founder of Build Short-Term Rental Wealth. I'm here with my good friend, mastermind member Jake Cohen, one of the top revenue managers in the industry, and we're going to talk all things revenue management. How are you today, Jake?
I'm awesome.
Why did I say that? We've been hanging out. We're here. We're getting ready to go out on the lake. You did a amazing revenue management session for the members today. Kind of give me the recap on that. Let's just dive in. What's the biggest thing that people fuck up in revenue management?
I think the biggest thing that people don't realize is how easy it is to get market data and to use market data to make good decisions. And I think if we all just did that, what did you book at last year, for example? Why are we looking at these numbers that are like 5 times that our prices are at that 6 months ahead of time, when the reality is there's no way we are going to book that high? So I think
I'm part of that contributor, honestly, because, all through COVID, it's raise your prices, raise the price by 3x, 6 months out, 9 months out. And I think people haven't readjusted for the post-COVID times that we're in today.
And I 100% agree with you. And I was part of that too. There was a time where I was thinking, man, let's just keep shooting higher. As long as someone books it, let's make the next week 20% higher.
So I did that for every property during COVID that I had. I have one property right now, one that I do that for, and it's my Dragonfly Beach property. You're familiar with that in Gulf Shores.
Yep.
And it's only between Memorial Day to the second week of August. And then once we hit Christmas, that will all go away because that's the official opening day for summer bookings. So you say get data. You mentioned something about one of the best values in data is the Price Labs Market Research Report. I live and die by it. You probably live and die by it. For somebody that doesn't know what it is, why is that so valuable at $10 a month?
It's just an incredible amount of data, and you can slice it and dice it into anything you want it to be. So what's amazing to me is for $10 a month, I can buy 1,000 listings, okay? So you type in your address, you say, okay, I want whatever radius around my property, you get 1,000 listings.
Right.
Now I can use that data to make infinitely better decisions. And if we think about this in terms of, price, I'm investing $10. Some people really gripe about an extra $10. And it's crazy to me because I say, what do you have to do to make an additional $10 on your property? Even if your ADR is only $100 a night, which very few people's is that low, you're talking almost one night a year to have that turned on the whole year. So I just love diving into the data. And I think the way that Price Labs presents it is actually in a way where you can digest it, even if you're not a data nerd. You can look at it and you can see very clearly on the graph, there's highs, there's lows, there's times where I need to be doing something differently.
Right. So I'm watching this on the Build Short-Term Rental Wealth YouTube channel right now, and I've got my first property. I just bought it. What am I specifically looking at? Because there's a lot. There's RevPAR, there's occupancy, there's pacing features in there. As a newbie, what should that person be focusing on just to get started?
I think build your market dashboard and build a comp set. And if you don't know how to do either of those things, Price Labs has great training, and I have recorded some great training as well on that. Best place to find out about that is through my Facebook group, Price Your STR. Just search Price Your STR. There's some free training in there you can grab. You can learn all about how to build a market dashboard. So do that. Build a comp set.
You just did like a Price Labs training or something recently, didn't you?
Oh yeah. We had 200 people register for our last training.
All free.
All free. Yep. Just give me your email address and we'll chat through whatever you want on your pricing. And I try and do that every 1 to 2 months. We put on a free training. It's all about giving back to the community. All of us got into this to put ourselves in a better financial position. And I hate when I talk to people on the phone and they're saying, man, I bought this place. I was sold a bag that said I was going to make $125,000. I did 80 this year. And most people, we can get you to the 125,000 that they told you. It's a lot more work. We got to put in time and effort into listing optimization, into marketing, into revenue management. And if we do all those things, we can get you to where you want to be. But it takes time and effort to get there.
So when you onboard a new client, what's the first thing? Kind of just walk me through what are the first step 1, 2, 3 that you go through that you would advise them to kind of focus on? Because I think a lot of us kind of get way too technical in the shit that we're doing, and we see you and John on and Emil and all these people talking about all these complex things, super far out,
Right.
pricing, market lead time, my property lead time, my conversion rates, one night minimums, cancellation, but it all affects revenue management. What's
Definitely.
that first place that you're starting?
Yeah, step one is that look at your market dashboard and figure out the data. So it's pretty simple stuff. You put in your address, you build that dashboard, you build your comp set, and that's step one. That's what we do, is we figure out who are our comps, okay? We've heard about this for a long time, using the enemy method, things like that. With a tool like PriceLabs, you don't necessarily have to click into each individual listing through Airbnb. You now can build a comp set, and you can do that with some help with filters and things so that you're not having to manually click on every single listing. So first step is build that comp set, then look at the data. And really what you're looking for is, are there major fluctuations during either seasons, day of the week, and are there things that I can do to set my listing apart? So you're looking at stuff like cancellation policy, cleaning fees, things like that that could potentially be a red flag to Airbnb to say, put me at the back of the group. So what I look for example, with cleaning fees is not that you have to have a $0 cleaning fee. You just need to be kind of in the middle of your market for your bedroom count. And then Airbnb is not going to penalize you. If you're way too high, as I was a couple of years ago, my cleaning fee was $450 for my 5-bedroom place in Gulf Shores. And I realized that the middle of the market was $250, and immediately made
You
that
can't
change.
be $300 higher.
No, I immediately made that change, but it was like, I went from page 12 to page 1 in like 3
Right.
days.
And people think I'm fucking crazy because like this place we're in right now, this started at $1,000 cleaning fee. As we have we're recording this at the end of August, as we have gotten out of summer, which in the South was the second week of August, really first week of August.
Yeah.
Now that cleaning fee is $650 because this is the only 12-bedroom. The next largest is 8, and the average cleaning fee is right around $500 for the 8 bedrooms. So if I leave it at 1,000, same thing that happened to you, it's going to crush my rankings. And I think people don't understand that part of your job as a revenue manager is also listing optimization. If I'm on page 4, you're not going to get the same rates that you're going to be able to command on page 1, correct?
Absolutely. Yep. So that's really step 2. After we do our data work, we now use that data and we say, okay, do they have the things in place from a listing optimization standpoint to succeed? Do they have good photos? And honestly, we don't go that much through their listing. We're really looking at, is their first photo good? Because
That's got to be the showstopper.
That's your number one marketing piece. It's 90% of your listing on the Airbnb search page is your one photo. If that one photo sucks, your listing sucks.
Right.
And so we look at the first photo, we look at the first 5 photos, we look very quickly, is the description and the title written in a way where they can see the key amenities? There's 2 ways that we look at amenities: location amenities and actual amenities of a property. And I think both have to be listed in like a bullet type format for people to be able to read them quickly and easily, because none of us know how to read sentences anymore.
Right.
So
Well, we do. We're just too fucking lazy.
we know how, but we don't want to.
Too
It's-
lazy.
Yeah, it's so much work.
Right.
Isn't there a video I can watch or something?
Give me the Cliff Notes version.
So anyways, we're doing that listing optimization. We're talking to our clients. Sometimes we just tell our clients, hey, we're going to start managing your pricing, but we're not really moving the needle until you get the new photos done, you
Right.
get your new descriptions in place, and we don't actually do that for them. And the reason we don't do that is because we feel like they own the property. They know better than we do how to write that description, what the most important features are of
Right.
that property. But yeah, I mean, if you have not had new photos taken in the last 2 years, just go out, spend the money, get them done. It's worth it. Even if you had an amazing photographer the first time, I guarantee with technology changes, with the way they're editing photos using AI, all of that stuff, you can do better. Spend an extra $1,000, $2,000, get the best photos you can possibly get.
Do not cheap out
Yeah.
and get the $500
Nope.
photographer. They just suck. I mean, that's why I fly Andrew Keller all over the country. And I found a good guy in Montana, actually, that's really, really good. But I
Nice.
want to have the best photos
Yeah.
100% of the time.
Yeah.
So I saw when you were doing your presentation that you actually have comp sets set up by seasons, right? Did I see that in there? I think you had some comp sets set up by seasons or pricing that was set up by seasons. Do you do how much of the pricing optimization is automated versus manual?
So everything is automated initially. So I want to make sure that if I see something in the data, I build it into an automated program. So seasonality, my new thing that I'm doing with seasonality is 35 different seasons throughout the year. And that sounds crazy.
That's like one every 10 days.
It is, but it's one of those things that I realized is if I just say summer is a season,
Right.
and that's Memorial Day to Labor Day, well, the first couple of weeks of that are not really high season. They're like mid-season.
First 2 weeks of June are not the same as the first 2 weeks of July.
Exactly. So I need to price them differently. So I'm starting to break out everything that could potentially change the prices. And it's not so much that you have to do that to be successful, but it's one of those things that in a time like now where things are ultra competitive, if I can make an extra 2% because I'm changing things a little bit by season, that's a big win right now.
Right.
It used to be that we could make extra money hand over fist by doing simple thing. New photography, you're going to make 50 grand more. You know, it's probably not going to affect it as much now because you already had pretty good photography, going to great photography. Maybe you're going to make an extra 10 grand. So that extra 2% might be that other 10 grand that I want to make.
Right.
Yeah.
How much manual adjustment are you doing specifically for like last minute bookings, like inside of 7 days today?
Yeah, we're in our properties every single week. I personally touch every single property in our portfolio every single
Wow.
week. I also have 3 VAs and my operations manager. We all share the duties. We all have different duties. We all look at things from slightly different angles. And I actually really like getting the feedback from other people. So we were talking earlier today. I had a client in the room when we were doing the presentation, and we had a meeting, which I try and do every single month with our clients if we can both get on the same schedule.
Right.
But she had a great insight, and she said, my property is a bachelorette property, and we're holding a 4-night minimum far out. And I was reading the data, and the data said, oh, people aren't booking 3 nights and less
Right.
during that time frame. But she said that her specific clientele is. And so we made the change, and it's like night and day that we're getting all these reservations coming in a lot
Right.
further out. So what we're doing with a property like that is we actually consider it 2 separate properties. So we have a weekend property, which is specific for bachelorette parties, super high dollars. We're doing everything premium for them. And then we're trying to appeal to a budget consumer midweek. We have 4 nights every single midweek. So I'm automatically bringing the price down significantly, way, way ahead of time, so that I'm hopefully getting like a family to
Right.
come in there and book those other 4 days.
So when you say way, way ahead of time, what does that mean in like actual days versus lead time?
As far as when we're doing that.
Correct.
So it's built straight into my normal pricing system. So what I do is I do a day of the week adjustment. So every, I can't remember what the breakdown is, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday
Mhm.
in that market, I'm going to come down, say 35% off of my normal base price.
Right.
So
And are
what-
you doing that incrementally week by week, or is it just boom, immediately down to 35%?
Yeah, so that one's immediately 35%. It's still part of my normal discount program as we get within a certain number of days. So it's going to continue to come down as we get closer. But
It's like when you hit your market lead time or going in what I call pre-market lead time, you're
Yeah.
incrementally doing 3-5% reductions or whatever it would be to get down in line.
yeah, and what we've found works best is actually a step down adjustment as opposed to most of the programs have a gradual adjustment, and that's
Right.
the default. So they say over the next 14 days, we're going to come down 20%. I used to always do that. And what I realized is Airbnb's algorithm actually is looking for bigger jumps.
So the bigger discount, the bigger jump you're going to get in the rankings.
Correct.
So if you're on page 1, you may not necessarily do that, but if you're on page 5 or 7 or 10, you're definitely going to get the bigger jump.
Definitely the bigger jump. And I feel like it's just one of those things where oftentimes you have people that are also interested in booking your property. They bookmarked it.
Right.
You know, they favorited it. And they're kind of checking on it every few days or you know, sending it to their different family members. And if you make a decent reduction where all of a sudden they're like, wait, yesterday this was $600, now it's $550.
Right.
Then they look at that and they say, we better book now or before someone else books it.
Agreed.
Yeah. Using that psychology of the guest, that's really important in pricing. And I think a lot of us are not thinking about the psychology of the guest. We are all consumers. We all stay in Airbnbs. Just think about it from your perspective. If you see a slash through the price and you see you're getting a 20% discount, it's like, I better book right now.
What a
That's
deal, what a
huge
deal,
win.
what a deal.
Yeah.
Everybody wants a deal at Target.
Exactly.
So I really appreciate you sharing all the information. Just to kind of close everything out, what's your biggest tip that you would give somebody that really is not an experienced revenue manager? What should they do? Especially as we're going into the shoulder season right now.
Yeah, I think it's really just get comfortable with data and get comfortable with logging into your program a minimum of once a week. Just log in once a week. And I think a lot of people are once every 6 months. So if you went from once every 6 months to once a week, you would just see your knowledge of your overall property when there are changes happening, when things are changing. It will go up infinitely, your knowledge of that. So use that data, look through that market dashboard, look for those key dates. We get those emails every week that say, oh, these key dates are going up or they're going down. You know, those are easy wins. That's not you doing hard work. That's PriceLabs doing the hard work for you. So I would say, you know, number one, get new photos because we all need new photos. We were just looking at my property.
Yep.
I need new photos. So get new photos and then look at your data at least once a week. Even if you don't know what to change, you'll start to see trends. You'll start to see, man, I'm booking during weekends, but I'm not booking during midweek. Just think about it logically. How could I get more bookings midweek? Well, maybe my price is too high.
Right.
Maybe my minimum nights are too high. And you just start playing with those things. That's really how I got into this was, you know, 7 years ago when I started my first Airbnbs, I was just in there experimenting with stuff and seeing what worked. And you go on and suddenly, you know, 5 years go by and you say, man, I'm pretty, you know, people are coming to you saying you're pretty good at this. Yeah. So
Awesome.
yeah.
So how do people get a hold of you, Jake?
We have a website, stepbystepbnb.com. There's a revenue management page on there. There are 2 buttons on there to set up a free consultation. You will have a call with either me or my operations manager. There are 2 of us, and we spend a full hour with you. About 55 minutes of that is whatever you need and want from that conversation. We're going to talk about your PriceLabs. We can dive into your stuff. We can give you examples of our stuff. And then from there, we're going to spend 5 minutes giving you the heads up on here's how you work with us. So really all for you.
Awesome. Take your revenue management to the next level. Hit up Jake. He also has an awesome Facebook group. What's the name of your Facebook group?
Price Your STR.
Price Your STR. Jump in there, get his free trainings, great community. I'll see you guys on the next episode of STR Unfiltered.